Hey guys, we're going to be looking at multiplication today. We're now in chapter 4. So they're giving us problems today in our book like this. And one common theme that you're going to find with multiplication is you're trying to make more complicated problems simpler. So you might take a complicated problem like this and turn it into two easier problems. And that just happens all of the time in multiplication and in math in general. You're trying to find several easier problems than the one you see to kind of break it into things that you can understand. So when you say 13 times 3, and they want you to try to do this in your head. So that's a challenge for math today is, can you do these problems in your head? You know, just try your best. If you can't do it, don't get frustrated. We're all just learning how to do math. So what you want to do with this is you think of it, you break it into two easier problems. So you break the 13 into 10. 10 is always going to be an easier problem than something like 13. And 3. And you can multiply each number by 3. Because in multiplication, you can always break the bigger problems into two, or even more than that, easier problems, two simpler problems. So 3 times 10, well, that's 30. And 3 times 3, well, that's 9. And if you don't know those, you can be checking your times table, but I'm hoping that you're doing your flashcards and getting better at just knowing these in your head without having to look at that by now. So 30, So 3 times 10 is 30, and we're going to add these together. And 3 times 3 is 9. What's 30 plus 9? 39. So that's going to look a lot like the first problem that you have today. And then they might make it more difficult, in fact they do, by saying something like this. They're like, okay, well you figure that out, but what about this? 13 hundredths times 3. What's that? Well, at this point, you've already figured out what 13 times 3 is 39. So 13 hundredths times 3 is just going to be 39 hundredths. Right? 13 times 3 is 39 ones. 13 hundredths times 3 is 39 hundredths. Like if you have $1,300 bills and you earn 2 more, so now you've got 3 groups of 13 hundredths. Now you've got 39 hundredths. And what does that look like when you write into a number? Well, it looks like this: 39, and then hundreds are not 1 0 but 2, right? Because 1 0 is a 10, 2 is 100. So you could read that number as 3,900 or 3,900. And you'll find as you get older, people often call 3,900 3,900. You have to kind of know how to say it both ways. And if you see 13 thousands times 3, well, guess what? It's 39 thousands, right? So what's that look like? Well, it looks like 39 and then thousands. Thousands is going to be 3 zeros. 39 thousandths. So what that means is that last digit, the 9, is going to be in the thousandth spot, 39 thousandths. So that's a big part of the problem that you're working on today. So that kind of thing, that'll be on numbers 1 and 2, or just like that. And then number 3 is going to be problems like this, where they say, I'll do one that looks kind of like it. 300 times 8. And 300 times 8, to do a problem like that, you need to think of it as an easier problem first. So you think of it as, well, what's 3 times 8? When I see a bunch of zeros like this, sometimes we'll do I'll cover them up. I'll be like, hey, what's 3 times 8? And then you can get out your multiplication chart, or you might just know, well, 3 times 8 is 24. And then, how many zeros did I cover up? 2. So I need to write those 2 down. Because I'm not talking about 3, I'm talking about 300. So I need to write 3 hundreds. Hundreds means 2 zeros. So it's going to be 2400. 3 times 8 was 24. But 300 times 8 is 2400. And then, if you put the comma in the right spot, it's also known as, it's AKA, which it means also known as 2,400. 2,400. And you might see something like this. They say, okay, well, solve that one first. And then look at one like this, where it's one less. What about 299 times 8? Well, this is where you're trying to find an easier problem. So first we figure out this one. Oh, 300 times 8 is 24 hundreds. So 299 times 8, well, look at that. It's just one less 8. So that's 300 groups of 8, and this is 299 groups of 8. So you've got to take an 8 off of that. So if you want to, you can just count down by 8. So I've got 400, 399, 398, 397, 396, 395, 394, 393, 392. So it's going to be 2,392. I just counted with my fingers. Or you could do it the old-fashioned way, where you just line it up. You minus 8 from it. That's going to take longer, but you can do that way too. So you say, okay, well, I've got to get some bills. Here, I've got 0 ones, I've got 0 tens. Do I have any hundreds? Yeah, I've got 4. So I can turn that into 3, and now I've got 10 tens. And I need to get some ones still, so I turn that into a 9, and now I've got 10 ones. So it's like going to the bank and like exchanging bills. And I've got 10 ones, 9 tens, and 3 hundreds. Okay, well, now you can just do it. 10 minus 8 is 2. 9 minus 0 is 9. 3 minus nothing is 3. Just bring down the 2. So same thing. And if you see this problem, well, what about 2? So then they make you do a problem like this. Well, what about 3,000 times 8? Well, cover up the zeros. What's 3 times 8? 24. How many zeros did I just cover up? 3 of them, so write them down. Because 3 times 8 is 24, but 3,000 times 8 is 24,000. And then if they make you do this, what about 2,999 times 8? Just take off an 8. This is 3,000 eights. This is going to be one less group of 8. So you want to subtract an 8 from that number. So again, you could use your fingers. 990. I don't even think about that. I just think of the thousands. 999, 998, and eventually you'll get down to 92 again. Or you can line it all up again. 24,000 minus 8. What's that? Well, okay, if we're gonna do that, we're gonna do it the long way. But we can do it. We've got to get bills in each of these numbers, in each of these zeros. We can have 0 bills and do a subtraction problem. So you take 1,000 and you give yourself 10 hundreds. Now you only have 9 because we need 10 tens. Now you've only got 9 because we need 10 ones. Now you can just do the subtraction. 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring down the 9. 9 minus nothing is 9. 3 minus nothing is 3. 2 minus nothing is 2. There you go. So on the back, on this one, just do 5 of these problems. Number 4, just do 5 of those. So 100 times 6, well, what's 1 times 6? And now add the 2 zeros, because we're talking about hundreds. Or 150 times 9, I'll do 150 times 8, just to give you an idea. I'll do 7 times 7. Well, remember this is 100, and it's 50. So what's 7 times 100? Oh, shoot. 50, not 500. There we go. 150, that makes more sense. Well, what's 7 times 100? Well, it's 700. And now let's add the 7 times 50. What's 7 times 50? Well, what's 7 times 5? 35. And now how many zeros did I cover up? 1. Because we're talking about 5 tens. So we're 35, not 35 ones, but 35 tens. So whenever you see this, like 7 times 50, just cover up a 0 and write the answer down. And then however many zeros you covered up, just write it down right there. Because we're not talking about 7 times 5 ones, we're talking about 7 times 5 tens. So then you can just add that up, and then that's your answer. 700 plus 350, well, 700, you can just do it like this. 0 plus 0, 0 plus 5, 7 plus 3, 10, 50, 1050. And you might see some problems like this too. Just do one more and then I'm gonna let you do your thing here. What if you see a problem like I see one that says 303 times 599? That's one of the problems. So I don't want to do one, but I'll do 3 times 499 just to give you an idea of how to do it. Well, what's 3 times, this number is super close to a number, right? Sometimes you need to round up. Well, what's 3 times 500? Because that's a lot easier. And then we'll get a really close answer to that. So 3 times 500, let's do that. Remember our little trick? We're not talking about 3 times, well, okay, the trick is you just cover up the zeros. What's 3 times 5? 15. But in this case, we're not talking about 3 times 5 ones, we're talking about 3 times 5 hundreds. So you've got to put those 2 zeros back that you just covered up to make it 15 hundreds, also known as 1,500. So now you figured out the easier problem, 3 times 500, which is 500, 1,000, 1,500, right there. But this is 500 groups of 3. We're actually trying to just figure out what's 499 groups of 3. So we had 1 too many 3s. So we've got to minus one of those 3s because we don't want 500 3s, we want 499 3s. So the answer is going to be a little bit less. How many less? It's going to be 3 less. It's going to be one group of 3 less. Because we went a little bit over. But that's not that hard. Just take 3 away from 1,500. 99, 98, 97. It's going to be 97. Because minus 1 is 99. 2, 98, 97. So I know it's going to be 97. And it's going to be what? Not 15, but 14. And if you want to do it the long way, no problem. Just do it. 1,500 minus 3, we can do that. Well, we need some bills here, right? We've got no ones or no tens. We've got a bunch of hundreds. So, just like we did last time, just keep 4 and turn a 100 into 10 tens. But we still need some ones. Okay, so keep 9, and now you've got 10 ones. So you're just like redistributing these. You're breaking up big bills for smaller bills. Like you're breaking up 10 tens for 9 tens and 10 ones. You know, it's like if you have a bunch of bills, you can always just break them up. Okay, let's do it now. 10 minus 3 is 7. 9 minus nothing is 9. 4 minus nothing is 4. 1 minus nothing is 1,000. So, same thing. So please do number 5 also, because that's a lot like this. I'll write down the problems to do in the assignment. You can do it. Thanks, guys.